am broker owner over at Capital to Coast Realty, and I'm with my partner, a good friend of mine, Sherry Riano, with First Heritage.
Yep, the Sherry Riano team. How you guys doing today? I am the branch manager at the Cary office, and Pam and I have partnered up to answer all your possible questions about buying and selling.
Yes, at the coast.
At the coast, which we both love. We both have places, and we can't talk about it enough.
Absolutely. So I'm in Carolina Beach, and Sherry is in
Pine Shores. And we
so
love
close
it.
but different.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally different markets.
I agree.
So we get a lot of questions from a lending standpoint too, is how is it different to buy at the coast as opposed to the Triangle from a lending standpoint?
Sure. I think one of the things you have to think about is insurance. I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't think about with having a home at the coast. You've got to have wind and hail.
Yes.
You've got to have flood insurance if you are in the flood zone, and most properties tend to be in some sort of flood zone. So it does a little different dynamic there than we have typically here.
I agree with you there too. A lot of people do ask about wind and hail. Do we need it?
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend it. It's one of those little things like you pay a little bit extra, right? But it's that extra reassurance that if you get a named storm or something significant, then you have the ability, to build back and take care of that investment.
And if you're getting a mortgage, it's not even optional. You've got to have the wind and hail and flood if it is required, as well as your standard homeowner's policy.
Yes, ma'am. So talk to me a little bit about lending there too. So sometimes I have people that want to invest, buy a second home, rental property, all of it, but there can be some different requirements, right?
Absolutely. At the coast, and with those type of properties, we talked about the insurance. So that's one of the big coastal things we have to think about, whether it's a primary investment or second home. But then you have to think, if this is going to be a second home for me, we have to look at rates because they're different now. In April, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac decided to increase rates on second homes and investment properties, and they kind of did it substantially. So it's a big kind of thing to think about when you're out there. Also, another thing you have to think about when you're down at the coast is you got to think about an appraisal and appraisers, because there's not as many as what I call qualified appraisers.
We'll talk about appraisals more too.
as we typically see here up in Raleigh.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there too. So what about condos? I also have the question of, should we get a single family home? There's sometimes some advantages of having a condo as well, because some of that flood insurance, wind and hail, those things are covered. But there can be some challenges maybe with lending.
Absolutely. So condos have certain requirements. They have investor concentration requirements, owner concentration requirements, and if they don't meet those requirements, what we find is it's called a non-warrantable condo. And what that means is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will not lend on it. They don't meet certain requirements. So you want to make sure you work with a lender that has access to money that will allow for non-warrantable condos and allow you still to buy it, whether it's an investment or it's a second home or a primary residence. You also want to keep in mind is your HOA fees. Okay, they can be there's just a range of what they can do.
Absolutely,
and what they provide.
They can be kind of expensive.
Yeah, and what you're getting for that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, some of them they're just covering the outside and the roof and so forth, and the maintenance for the lawn stuff. Others were, it's pool coverage. There's a lot of different things to think about, but that's one dynamic of the property that never goes away, even once you pay off your mortgage. So you just need to think about that, especially if you're thinking about it being your retirement home. I think you've got to kind of factor that in with your numbers.
Absolutely. So Sherry mentioned a little bit about appraisals. So y'all, before we go any further, I will say it is uber important to work with a lender or a partner that you have confidence that they're aggressive enough to get your client over the finish line. So we've had a couple of occasions here recently where there was a previous lender. There were a couple little snafus, one being an appraisal that came back dramatically low.
Right.
And Sherry's team came in, swooped in, and kind of saved the day.
Right.
But how is your team different? How are you guys able to make a difference in that lending side?
Sure. So on the lending side for us, especially, let's talk about appraisals, because that's just a hot button. And I don't care where you are in North Carolina.
That is it. Yeah.
So one of the things that we do a little different is every lender is required to order an appraisal through a third party. It was part of Frank Dodd's requirements of the reform of the mortgage collapse, right? So it is uber important to have that local lender that has those relationships. They're still around robin. I can't, go to a specific appraiser, can't do anything of like that, but we can still order it through a system of people that we work with consistently, and then they get the importance of being here in North Carolina and understanding our markets. Some of the big box and online people, they don't have those relationships, and they will have an appraiser come up 2 states away into our coastal market and try to appraise it. And when that happens, it just is not pretty.
And that's absolutely what happened for us. It was a Kansas lender. Mm-hmm. They had no idea in a lot of ways what was going on with the whole home purchase, and so Sherry's team was able to really get us through. And I've worked with quite a few listing agents recently too, that in a multiple offer situation, if it's not a local lender, they're not really even interested in looking at that offer too.
They don't want to take it, And something else we do on the lend side, which is a little bit different, is I work alongside with Pam when she makes an offer or someone on her team, and I'm going to call a listing agent. I'm going to talk to them about how strong our offers are, talk about why our clients are, stronger than maybe some other offers they have. So I think that is also, I have found a lot of value in that, because they want to know, it's a little crazy out there, and they want to know that they're working with somebody that knows how to get the transaction done.
We're starting to see some come back on the market at the coast. I think part of it may be appraisals, but some of it may be some of the lenders that are out of town too. So it does matter. Who you work with matters, and I can't emphasize that enough there too.
I think it, on both sides.
Yes.
You have to have that real estate agent that knows what they're doing and knows the market and digs down deep and wants to fight for you, which I have seen Pam do time and time again. So I think that's what makes our relationship very good, is we both roll our sleeves up and we get the job done, and we work for our clients. And we're very passionate about it.
I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I can text Sherry at Saturday morning or Sunday morning kind of early, and she responds. Yep. So if we need pre-approval letters or to get something over, we'll absolutely work together to get it done as well.
And that's just another thing that our team provides. I'm lucky enough that I do have a team. So, there's someone always responsive to, our agents, to our clients. It's just important to be able to be there. And I can promise you a big bank they're going to reach out to you 9 o'clock on Monday morning.
Right. Yeah. Good luck on Sunday.
Yeah. And if it's a multiple offer situation and you're really, digging down, you can't. No. They're just going to be like,
every minute matters. Mm-hmm. So one final question for you.
Okay.
Why Pine Knoll Shores for you?
So my husband and I had looked for a beach home for 10 years. We had gone from top of the Outer Banks all the way to the tip of Florida. We couldn't find anything that we wanted, so we gave up. We went Pine Knoll Shores. Just happened to be driving through. Just happened to see this house. We walked into it. We looked at each other and said, "This is it," and we bought it.
I love it. So Pine Knoll Shores, while we're sitting here talking, is a very special place. Emerald Isle is a hot market right now.
Yes.
And Sherry is in a perfect location to take advantage of the market. So I know we'll talk some about what the market may be projected to do in a few years, but in a short period of time, she feels like she's made a substantial amount of money at our coast as well.
I have. I actually had an appraisal done.
Nice.
And, yes, because rates were favorable to refinance that property, so I took advantage of it. And it's quite amazing what we have done in just a short little time. Yeah. I mean, you're talking, our appreciation rates are 30-40%. That's crazy.
Well, I think North Carolina has been such a valuable, it's just been undervalued.
Correct.
By so many, like New Jersey, Florida, we've seen some increases, but North Carolina has been this special little place
for a long time
where the prices have been fairly reasonable, but it's not too late. It's still a really great time to buy at the coast.
Fabulous time to get in. We do have some big companies coming in, and they're going to want not only buy here in the Triangle, but they're going to want to purchase at the coast because they're going to want to have a second home. So I say, hey, if you're thinking about getting that second home or that investment property, you need to call Pam now. Definitely.
Please do.
And I think a lot of people are concerned about how fast we're escalating. But what I do want to share with you is back in 2008, when the market did collapse, we had very minimal hit in North Carolina. Now, the hits that California, Florida, New Jersey, Nevada took, it was devastating. We just really didn't feel them. We were lucky to we maintained, and we went back to a normal set of appreciation of 3% per year. but we held on. So that's another reason that I think investing here now makes a lot more sense when people are talking, is it a housing bubble? I don't see it here. If we've got too many driving factors to continue to let us grow.
I agree with you there too. I think Raleigh's growing, continues to grow, and that definitely impacts the coast as well. I mean, I talk to people every day, every week about wanting to buy a secondary home at the coast or move. I mean, COVID has changed things, right?
Right.
You don't have to, you don't have to live 15 minutes from work anymore. You can be at the coast, and then you can also
still get your job done.
Yeah, still get your job done.
Yeah, we were financing people left and right doing that. You know, I had a couple that said, you know what, I don't need to be in Raleigh anymore.
Yeah.
And our dream was to retire at the beach.
Yeah.
Well, they're not retired. They've moved their whole family. Everything's down there. The infrastructure's down there for it. They've got good schools down there. So, hey,
The time is now.
We can't say it enough.
No, we can't. Well, thank you so much for listening to our video. If Sherry or I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out. We're here to help. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks.